Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Hare
Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So now we are going to start with the program today. 5:30 is the time. We are right on time. Let's start with Guru Puja, which will be led by Shukwa Das. Hari Bol.
Shri Guru Charana Padma Kevala Bhakti Sharma Shri Guru Charana Padma Kevala Bhakti Sharma Shri Guru Charana Padma Kevala Prasthaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Viti Namini Namo
Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami
Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Viti Namini
Srimati Bhakti Vedanta
Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharini Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Vasachane Shatarini Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharini Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharini Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Vasachani Shatarini Namaste Saraswati Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaurapari Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda
Divine Mercy Srimad Sri Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki. The ISKCON Father Sri Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki. ISKCON Guru Vrinda ki. Ananta Guru Vaishnava ki. Guru Parampara ki. Jai Rupa Sanatana Bhatta Raghunath Shri Jiva Gopal Bhattadas Vaishnava Pavitragan ki. Jai Prem Se Gaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Adaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Shri Gaur Bhakti Vrinda ki. गंगामय जमुनामय की भक्ति देवी तुलसी महारानी की हरिनाम संकीर्तन की रंजन रंग कृष्ण की मायापुर नवद्वीप धाम की वृंदावन मधुर धाम की श्यामकुंड राधा कुंड गिरी गोवर्धन की जय इस हरिने भक्तिमार्ग साईं महाराज वैष्णव महामहोत्सव की श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय गौर प्रेमानंदे all Gaurish Dasan Rupi Hare Krishna all Gaurish Dasan Rupi Hare Krishna all Gaurish Dasan Rupi Hare Krishna all Gaurish Guru Garangan Shri Prabhupada ki jai
Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharya Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pascha Deshataya Esi Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. My name is Maharaj Das. I'm your thanks servant playing the role of MC today. Today is October 5th, 2019. That means His Holiness Bhaktimarga Swami has turned 67 years old today. Hari Bol! It's a momentous occasion for us. We are celebrating his VYASA PUJA here at ISKCON Brampton, and it's first for ISKCON Brampton. So ISKCON Brampton Rath Yatra, ISKCON Brampton Yatra ki jai! First time we are celebrating Maharaj's VYASA PUJA here at ISKCON Brampton, and I'm sure it's going to be an excellent event. So we are running a little bit late, 5 minutes late. I don't want to go further late. That's why we'll continue with the program. And quickly, the program is now we are going to have new initiates who were initiated by Maharaj in last summer to do a foot bathing ceremony, and then afterwards we'll be continuing with the program. I will be here. Thank you guys very much. Let's continue with the foot bathing ceremony now. Hari Bol.
Hare
continuing with the program. 6 o'clock, that's when you. I'm waiting for Jagannath Mishra, please, entering uttering the words, uttering his name. So this is the time when the temple presidents are going to offer their offering for Maharaj and how he has been leading various Toronto area. And then Jagannath Mishra Prabhu will have something to say, Keshwa Prabhu and Vaishnava Prabhu, they will have some time too. So these are the people who are going to be saying something in the honor of Maharaj. But I think Jagannath Prabhu has something to say right now.
Hare Krishna. Whoever needs a tax receipt for donation, please mention the Toronto on the check Toronto ISKCON Toronto can walk. If you have not mentioned on that, please correct the check. Also take a receipt from Bhagavad Prabhu. Murali Manohar Prabhu will take your legal name and initiative name, address and phone number. Please give it to him for cutting the receipts. Please take the receipts after the program is done from Bhagavad Prabhu.
Thank you very much. So Jagannath Mishra Prabhu is here. Let's hear what Prabhu has to say. Hare Krishna. No, the time. That one. Yes, yes.
Hare Krishna. So this is an offering from ISKCON Toronto to His Holiness Bhaktimarga Swami Maharaj. So this is from the Temple Council of ISKCON Toronto. I have two offerings I gather. One is from the council, the other one is from the devotees of the Maharaj. So this is on behalf of the council. Our most dear beloved Bhaktimarga Swami Maharaj, please accept our prostrated obeisances at the dust of your divine lotus feet. All glories to your divine grace. All glories to Sri Prabhupada. All glories to your loving servants. Maharaj, we are eternally indebted to you for showering us with your causeless mercy. In a recent class, a respected ISKCON Vedic scholar defined causeless mercy as that which the cause is much less than the mercy. Clearly the cause is the seva we perform as Temple Council, which is minuscule compared to the mercy of compassion with which you inundate us. As a veritable symbol of the infinite magnanimity of Gauranga Mahaprabhu, you bless us with giving us glorious audience. Very patiently, you hear our stories, issues, and grievances. Thereby, with the mood and nectar of fatherly affection, you deliver your sublime instructions with incredible purity and depth. The recently formed Temple Council is entering into its 7th month of Seva. An innovative approach in restructuring the council is gaining ground. With your blessings, many projects are bearing fruit, including a new Govinda's restaurant, a very vibrant and grand temple renovation plan, an ever increasing books and kirtan drive, and a very successful back-to-back festivals, to name a few. On this divine day of your glorious appearance, Maharaj, we beg to become resolute in our commitment to your directives. We may do so only according to the degree of our faith. The shraddha or faith is what compels us to sincerely follow your instructions. The word shraddha comes from the word da, that means to place, and shraddha means heart. Its meaning thus is where we place our hearts. Hence, on this most auspicious day, we beseech you, Maharaj, that our faith in your body becomes pure. Thereby our service to you will be unobstructed. We have doubts, we may hesitate, and our service and intention may lack purity. The sincere servant works actively in devotional seva while praying that the Lord removes his doubts. In Bhagavatam 7.10.7, Prahlada Maharaj prays, O my Lord, best of the givers of benediction, if you at all want to bestow a desirable benediction upon me, then I pray for your worship that within the core of my heart there be no material desires. Maharaj, our humble prayer on this day is that without any reservations, you bless us by removing all the anarthas from within the deep recesses of our dirty hearts. Doing so will be equipped to serve better our beloved sisters, brothers, and children of ISKCON Toronto, devoid of any Vaishnava pride. Thereby we may earnestly please you, Maharaj. Please Srila Prabhupada, most of all, Srimati Radharani, our Param Guru. Once again, all glories to your divine lotus feet, your unworthy servants of your servants, the Temple Council of ISKCON Toronto. Bhaktimarga Maharaj, Swami Ki Jai.
I know Bhaktimarga is here from Scarborough. If she wants to say something about Maharaj, yes, yes, she is.
Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasaya Mukhi Shrimati Bhaktimarga Swami. Namaste, Saraswati Devi, Gauravan Prajani, Vishesha Shrimati Prasada. Hare Krishna Maharaj. We offer our most respectful obeisances to the dust of this week. All glories to Jagat. All glories to Srila Prabhupada Jagadguru. All glories to your divine grace. On this most auspicious day of VYASA PUJA, we the devotees of ISKCON Scarborough would like to extend our gratitude and heartfelt thank you to you for all your association, instruction, encouragement, blessings, and most of all for being our spiritual guide and mentor. Maharaj, upon reflecting on all that you have done to please your spiritual master in spreading our Chaitanya Sankirtan movement, you have inspired us to follow in your footsteps. Your spiritual gift as a walking monk inspires many. Your drama captivates the hearts of many lost conditioned souls like myself. You encourage us to participate in attending special events such as the GTA Management Meeting, Canadian Leadership Meeting, Shakti Show, etc. For our own spiritual growth, you also stress the importance of establishing Srila Prabhupada, your spiritual master and our grand spiritual master, as the founder and charger of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. Maharaj, our congregation is growing weekly. In order to be able to serve these devotees better and to offer more services to them, we require better accommodation. By your encouragement, we are planning to invest sometime in the near future to obtain a bigger temple. Please bless us that this vision will be successful despite the few challenges we are managing well so far. This tiny spark of service that was entrusted to us could only be successful if by your mercy we always try to remember that we are the servant of the servant of the servant of the servant. With the desire to always better serve our Chaitanya Sankirtan movement, we kindly ask you to grant us the strength to face with faith, joy and vigor all these challenges that the human adventure set up for all, including devotees. Please continue to give us your blessing and guidance so that we can commit our hearts and mind in serving Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mission. Please let us stay united in the determination and dedication to spread this mission. Let us work together cooperatively to bring glories to this movement. Let us always serve the glories of the Holy Name. Your insignificant servant of ISKCON Scarborough.
So now I'm going to ask Lal Pinathan to say some words on behalf of ISKCON Premchand.
नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी की नाम में नमस्ते सरस्वती देवी गौरवाणी प्रचारिणी विशेष शून्यवादी पश्चात विस्तार। Hare Krishna, dear Maharaj. Please accept our humble obeisances unto your lotus feet on this most glorious day of your VYASA. All glories to you. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Maharaj, thank you very much for inspiring and encouraging us to spread Srila Prabhupada's mission in Brahman. Maharaj, by your blessing, this year is very successful for ISKCON Brahman. Following here are some of the successful events at IB. We distributed more than 4,500 plates during Janma Yatra, and we see around more than 2,500 devotees in Janmashtami. As you know, congregation is increasing day by day with your blessings and mercy. Right now we have Sunday school, we have around 56 kids coming regularly and they are in regular class. Maharaj, despite your busy schedule, you always spare time for us and always provide your guidance and advice on various issues related to temple. Many times we become very anxious, restless and morose, but your words of encouragement boost our morale to work hard in service of Srila Prabhupada. Maharaj, personally I am very much inspired by your calmness, simplicity, kirtan and drama. I am very much indebted to you for valuable instruction and guidance, and sorry for bothering you with many questions. Maharaj, please bless me and council members so we can serve each and every member of our congregation and Srila Prabhupada's mission. Please shower your blessings on ISKCON Brampton congregation so we can progress in Krishna consciousness. Thank you very much, Maharaj, for your guidance. Your servant Radha Gopinath Das on behalf of ISKCON Brampton Council and congregation. Thank you.
I'm going to ask Bhaktimarga Prabhu to come up again and say something on behalf of all the disciples of Maharaj, all the devotees here. And as I said, then I'm going to ask Vaishnava Prabhu and Keshav Prabhu afterwards. A very dear Bhaktimarga Swami Maharaj, Hare Krishna. Please accept our countless prostrated humble obeisances at your divine lotus feet. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. All glories to you, Maharaj, on your appearance day. We pray that you enjoy many years of excellent health, so you may continue to engage countless souls in Krishna consciousness. Maharaj, we remain eternally indebted to you for showering us with your causeless mercy. We shall never be able to repay our debt to you, even if you take countless births, many multiple times. Maharaj, thank you for being so patient and for tolerating our offenses, deficiencies, foibles, and all other forms of impudence. You always put up with us with so much patience. Despite our fallen nature, we humbly beseech you to please tolerate our faults. Kindly guide us. As Lord Krishna says to Arjuna, to show them special mercy, I, dwelling in your hearts, destroy with the shining lamp of knowledge the darkness born of ignorance. We collectively would like to share with you all the following citation, which is reproduced from Ridha Swarup Prabhu's book, Srila Prabhupada, the founder of Acharya. So this is an excerpt from Ridha Swarup Prabhu's book called Srila Prabhupada. It goes as follows. On May 23rd, 1977, Srila Prabhupada made a well-known statement about the test of our love. As reported by Tamal Krishna Goswami, Srila Prabhupada emphasized, your love for me will be tested how after my departure you maintain this institution. We have glamour and people are feeling our weight. This should be maintained, not like Gaudiya. After Guru Maharaj's departure, so many acharyas came up. Bhakti Churu Swami was present when Srila Prabhupada made this statement. Churu Maharaj recalls when Srila Prabhupada was in Vrindavan during his last days in 1977, Tamal Krishna Maharaj used to read out loud the letters that devotees wrote to Srila Prabhupada, and his divine grace used to dictate his replies, and sometimes he also used to make some comments. Once one devotee wrote how he wanted to offer his longevity to Srila Prabhupada so that he could continue to be with us on this planet. It was a very sweet letter, steeped with emotion. However, Srila Prabhupada reacted in a rather unusual way and commented that a real love for him to be shown by how we cooperate with each other to continue his mission. Maharaj, from this we can glean that the best way to show our love for you and Srila Prabhupada is through our cooperation with each other and all other devotees of ISKCON who are serving His divine grace so sincerely to continue His mission. Maharaj, let's pledge before you that as your unworthy servants on this divine day, we serve together in the mood of cooperation and genuine love for each and every living entity. Thank you very much, Maharaj, for always being there to support and enthuse us. Hare Krishna, on behalf of your servants, your menial servant, Jagannatha Das. Hare Krishna.
So I'm going to ask Keshav Prabhu to please come and say a few words to glorify Maharaj. Hare Krishna. Vaishnav Prabhu is next.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, another VYASA PUJA and another close encounter. I mean, something to glorify you. That's what it goes. I must thank all well-wishers who have come today, Mother Prana, and all the others. Radha Mohan Das, all those well-wishers have come all the way to join our celebration of this VYASA PUJA. Maharaj, you are 67 years old. It's a wonderful age, you know. And when I first met Maharaj, that was way back December 28, 1992, at 10:47 a.m. You know, when I met Maharaj, I just accidentally found Krishna consciousness, and I ran to 243 Avenue Road. And when I opened the door, the first person I meet is a sannyasi with an orange cloth, with a glow around his head. And that was Maharaj. That was my first encounter with Maharaj. And Maharaj welcomed me. He took me, introduced me to the deities. Then he gave us a whole bunch of Maha sweets. Take it home, give your family, and come and check us out on January 1st. And January 1st, I took the family and went to check out the Hare Krishnas. And from that day, we never left. That was, it could be Krishna's potency, but the spiritual master is always a representative of Krishna. And that was Maharaj. And he has always guided us very closely, very nicely. I mean, he's always, sometimes he's chastised me. That is perfectly normal, you know. And it's been a wonderful relationship which I have had with Maharaj, and nowadays I look forward to him coming to my home. Because when he comes and sings the Tulasi Aarti, that is a remark by some other devotees. When he sings Tulasi Aarti, he sings Vrinda Devi comes. You know, that's how he sings. I mean, that's also another gift of Krishna which he has. So to make it short, it's a gift of Krishna that Maharaj is with us. But as disciples, we have to see that Maharaj continues with us a longer time than the required time. So we have to apply for an extension of Maharaj. We have to remind Maharaj about his health, of how he is doing things. Right? So this is what I would request all disciples to communicate with Maharaj and pray for Maharaj's good health. I mean, of course, he was grounded for a while, but now I heard he's flying again. So So, it's perfectly all right, but we have to take precautions, Maharaj. We want you around for a longer period. And that's our wish, Maharaj. So please take care of your health. And of course, Maharaj has come. Maharaj always thinks big. Right? We call him the high maintenance sannyasi. Not for himself, but he wants for Krishna. He wants 243 Avenue Road to be a different guy. He wants to build a new temple in Brampton. These are his desires which I know he has. And he wants a senior citizen's home. In Vasaga or wherever, right? I mean, it's a wonderful thought. But the duty of the disciples to fulfill that desire of the Guru. So we all should join together and try to fulfill some of his disciples at least. I mean, some of his desires. That's what we should do. Though it's a big wish he has, a big desire he has. But at least we can fulfill some. Right? Or at least try to make an attempt. At least I say I'm trying to make an attempt by talking to Maharaj and say, yes, Maharaj, we should do it. So that's how we all should do it. And Maharaj, we will do it. Not this birth, next birth. Thank you, Maharaj. All the best.
So Vaishnav Prabhu gets a chance, what Keshav Prabhu was asking, that he wanted Vaishnav Prabhu to go first so that he could find faults what Vaishnav Prabhu was saying. But now Vaishnav Prabhu gets a chance to do the same thing. I know he's not going to do it.
Hare Krishna, all glories to His Holiness, Bhaktimarga Swami, all glories to His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada. Really, I was just asked to speak a few words very shortly, and I just thought about something. I know that ISKCON Brampton is going to host the Nectar of Instruction class. So the very first verse has come to my thoughts. Vacho Vegam, Manasa Krodha Vegam, Jiva Vegam, Udara Upashta Vegam, Etan Vegam Sa Visayata Dira, Sarva Apimam Prithvim Sa Satyat. Sarva Apimam Prithvim Sa Satyat. So Prabhupada in the Srimad Bhagavatam was making some commentary on this particular verse. And he talked about the qualities of the spiritual master. That if you cannot overcome these 6 urges, one of the mind, speech, the genitals, the stomach, anger, and so on, you will be falling into the category of what we call go dasa. That means you become a servant of the senses. But one who can rise above these urges is deemed as a Goswami. And fortunately for all of us today, in our presence, we have the presence of a Goswami. His Holiness Bhaktimarga Swami. Goswami. Because some of us know His Holiness Bhaktimarga Swami for many, many years. And over these years, it has become very, very evident that he's truly a Goswami. Really. Because he is so much in control of his power of speech. He's so kind with the words that he uses. I've never seen Bhaktimarga Swami get angry at any time. And he's so, enduring. He's never given up in all the attempts that he's made in the various programs that we've had, and the various commitments we made to ISKCON and to Prabhupada. Maharaj has stood strong. Prabhupada also said that in India, there are many, many Swamis who claim to be Jagat Guru, the Guru of the world. But they do not leave their place of residence. They stay right there. But they claim this title Jagat Guru. But we see in Maharaj that he is truly Jagat Guru. because he's traveling all over the world, from Guyana to Spain to Fiji to India to South Africa and every other place you can name. He not only travels by plane, but he walks half the country that he travels to. So he has that wonderful commitment and urge to walk all the time. So wonderful, Maharaj. You know, in Canada these days, there's a store called Forever 21. They closed down, but your walking has kept you Forever 21. Well done, well done. So anyway, these are my words, and I wish you continued success, Maharaj, in all your endeavors. We are here to support you in all your attempts, and you can count on us, and hopefully we can count on you when there's a spiritual need. Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna. So I think we have some time. It's like we can push it for another 10 minutes. I don't want to miss the chance. Prahana Mataji is here. She is a disciple of His Divine Grace Bhaktimarga Swami Srila Prabhupada and has known Maharaj for so long. So let's have some nectar from her. Like she will have a juicy story about Maharaj for sure. Let's see. Thank you. And Radhika Mandaru, please, you are next. Please be ready.
Hare Krishna. Glories to Srila Prabhupada and all his wonderful disciples, including my very dear god brother Bhaktimarga Swami. I met Maharaj in 1973 when we were at Gerard Street Temple, and we were both very young and both very inexperienced in the world. And I can truly say that we, and a lot of other of us, but we kind of grew up together. You know, we're like brother and sister, really. Our life experiences that we went through together to become Krishna conscious, to leave the material world and all of those things, to deal with all the adversity and problems at that time, made us a real family. And we have very close siblings all over the world who are very dear to us. So I have always felt that Maharaj was my brother, and I've always felt a great deal of affection for him in that way, and a closeness and a trust and a real specialness about having him in my life and working closely with him to achieve many things. And I look forward to many, many more years of that. Do you really want me to tell the truth story? Okay. So we had many adventures. One time I came down in the basement at Gerard Street. We used to eat prasadam on pieces of wax paper. And we'd have just little bits. You know, it was pretty messy actually, but we had wax paper and we'd then go downstairs to wash our hands and mouth. And you go down these rickety stairs, and it was an awful basement really, with a cement floor and water on the floor generally. And it was like a basement in a very old place, which is what it was. And one time I went down there, I washed my hands, and I was just sort of turning around to go back, and Bhaktimarga Maharaj came down, washed his hands, and he slipped. He fell. He fell, and hit his head. He had a seizure on the floor, and we were all, oh, what to do? But he was okay, but we noticed that his teeth were gone. He hit his face and he knocked his teeth out. So at that time, we were like, oh my gosh, what to do? Because we had no money. And he was a Sankirtan devotee, and he couldn't go out looking like that. I mean, people would notice. But at the same time, it cost a fortune to get 2 teeth that we didn't have. So, what did Yoganasloka call it? Bhakti Bhaktimarga. Yes, Bhaktimarga. And it was, I don't know what to do about this, but they did get him teeth, and they're still there. Yeah, they were pretty good ones. But this is just one of the things, and off he went on Sankirtan within, the day or two. And then up north selling paintings, and when we all worked together so hard to buy the temple on Avenue Road, he was just up there, living in the van, bathing in little cold rivers, just go. The rest of us were down in the city here out on Sankirtan every day collecting dimes, nickels, quarters, and we'd get little piles of money every night. And Maharaj would come home with a pile of money because he'd be selling paintings. It was so exciting. And we got the temple. So when you're thinking here about your future, never say that you can't do it, because the odds of us buying that church were astronomically against us. We had no money. We had just a bunch of kids. Most of us, all of us were under 25. And we had people who were against us and trying to stop us all the time. Especially those that owned the church. They said they'd rather burn it down than let us buy it. So I'm sure that with all of your wonderful resources and determination, you can do wonderful things here. Honestly, you just have to think outside the box. Srila Prabhupada told us, when we said, this building, it will be so much anxiety, because we didn't know how the heck we would renovate it, maintain it, pay the mortgage. And Srila Prabhupada put his fist on the table and he said, there must be anxiety. So there you go. Anyway, thank you, Maharaj. We've been together now, 50 years? 72 to 20, yeah. So let's go for another, 30, 40? That's a deal.
So if it goes to 108, then we still have 41 more years, right? So, Radhika.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Then Maharaj. First, wish you very happy VYASA Puja today, Maharaj. So, VYASA Puja day, we basically try to glorify Guru Maharaj, sadhus. One purpose is to just glorify him so that we appreciate him for the services he rendered, how he inspired us to serve in Krishna consciousness. And second purpose, which I feel, is that when we glorify any sadhus or gurus, to learn from those qualities, and we get inspiration from those qualities, that how we can apply those in our day-to-day life and advance in spiritual life. So if we go in any Krishna conscious class, we basically, if you see, the crux of all the classes is two. One is how to get attachment to the Krishna or Krishna's devotees. And second is to get detachment yourself from the material and worldly affairs. This is the crux of any class. You can any class find crux is this. So as far as the Maharaj is concerned, to say about the attachment in Krishna or Krishna's devotees, 24/7, he is doing that seva. So there is a happy food. I don't have to say anything special for that. Even today morning, he is calling me, asking, "Oh Prabhu, when will we able to start the renovation?" He's still worried for everything. Even today, we asked Puja day, he's worried, "Oh, when will we able to start the renovation in the temple? And when will we have the Lakshmi available?" He's always worried for the either Krishna or Krishna's devotees, how best he can serve it. So there's nothing much I have to say on that. But then comes to the detachment from the material and worldly affairs. So once I asked my Guru Maharaj, when we always listen from your classes, detachment from material and worldly affairs, what do you mean by this? It's very simple. Detach from money and honey, it is detachment from worldly affairs. So now, if I think from that perspective, detachment from money and honey. So detachment from honey is concerned, that principle is not applicable on the Guru Maharaj. He has no attachment, there is no question of detachment, no honey, no detachment from that. But that comes to a question of money, which is very difficult. If we see, we all learn from the attachment for Krishna, but when it comes to detachment from the money, it's the most difficult thing, most difficult thing. So I would like to share one small example. This is my life experience with Maharaj. It's about, I think, 8 to maybe 10 years ago. Maharaj has a strong desire to set up a senior citizen home. So in that desire, and one project we started, I think, and the key people involved in that project was Mother Prahanna, Vaishnav Prabhu, Keshava Prabhu. They were the key people involved in that. And my seva was just to negotiate with the seller to buy that project. I was just involved in that. So we finalized a deal, negotiated a deal, and the time comes for giving the advance money. And this deal was final deal. It was not like normally you do the deal, there's a 5 days, 10 days clause or some financing clause, but in that deal there was no clause. It was a firm deal. You pay some advance, and if you are not able to close the deal by that day, that advance money is gone. Simple. So we are sitting in a meeting. So I briefed Maharaj, I have negotiated the price is the rock bottom price, but this is the precondition for that. And we do not have other money available with us if we give the advance. Maharaj said, no problem. So you can give the advance, then we are all looking at the faces of each other. Who has advance? So Maharaj said, Yeshua, you got my inheritance money, give that money as advance to them. So we know that this deal is a final deal. Maharaj, within no second, he just gave all his inheritance money for that deal, when we know that we do not have the money, we do not know how we will finance that deal. And after that, we were about to close the deal, and we could not raise the money. And in almost like 90 days time, not even a single time Maharaj called me, Prabhu, what is going to happen with the money? So that is the true detachment from the money. If we get that inspiration from Maharaj, please bless us, bless me, as well as bless the whole family, that we can get that kind of inspiration from you, that how we can detach from the material face. Thank you very much, Maharaj.
So, now is the time that he himself is going to talk about what is so dear to him and what he wants to share with us on his own birthday. He turned 67 today. Let's see. I know when he turned 65, then he was referring to his song, you know, when you still remember me around 65 or 64. And last week he was talking about Route 66. So let's see what he has today.
Hare Krishna, everyone. Thank you so much for coming by. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Really, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. He's the person that we're living for. So what I want to do is share with you my experiences with Srila Prabhupada as best as I can remember in terms of physically seeing him, being with him, and so on like that. I don't think I've ever really shared that with you. And I really didn't have time to take any notes down. I've been busy. I spent 2 days in Winnipeg, 2 days in Saskatoon, 2 days in Regina. And then I just landed here this morning. I've been there to sleep. So maybe if I look a little weathered, it means that I didn't sleep last night. So anyways, I first met Srila Prabhupada, or saw him physically, in February 1975. It was Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Maharaj's appearance day. Okay? And Srila Prabhupada had arrived in Atlanta maybe 2-3 days prior. I was with a brahmachari traveling party, and it is the month of February, and you may not need to ask any question, why is a group of brahmacharis from Canada in Southern America? I don't think you'll have to explain that, okay, in February. So many devotees were coming from all over North America to see Srila Prabhupada. And that was the first time I actually saw him. I was shocked by his size. He was 5 feet, 2 or 3 inches. I don't know how many centimeters that is altogether. We have some great mathematicians here. People fast on the numbers. Okay, anyways, 5, you're right, maybe. Something like that. And Srila Prabhupada was sitting in the VYASA sun. Our brahmacharis from Canada, that is myself, Giri Jadava Prabhu, Trilokanath, and there was one more person, Nakani Prabhu, who passed away from cancer. He's a Hamilton boy. So we went into the temple room, and Srila Prabhupada was telling us a story about how he first came to Krishna consciousness. He had a college classmate. His name was Naren, I guess short for Narendra. And Narendra was saying, you have to meet this nice saintly person. And he's not like all the other people that we may have met before. He's the real thing, like what we would say, the real McCoy, genuine. And then we heard Prabhupada say at that meeting, my friend practically dragged me to see Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Maharaj. And we know a little bit behind that. Those of you who have read the Lilamrita, maybe you've read Swami and the Strange Land, and those kind of details are given there, how Prabhupada was reluctant to meet the Swami because he had seen so many hoaxers and, let's say, cheaters in this department, in the sadhu department. Like there was a person living in Kolkata, nearby in the neighborhood, and he would go somewhere else, he would put on some saffron clothes, go to another part of the city, and sort of beg for money, and then come back and bring the money on his regular cross to close. And this registered with Prabhupada as a kind of a cheating way of life, and of course it is. And Prabhupada's own father, Abhay, Chadran's father is called Abhay at that time, Gaur Mohan Dey, he was also somewhat disgusted with some of the sadhus and their poor behavior. So Prabhupada, definitely was, in his college years, he was a little skeptical and maybe a radical thinker because he did become a follower of Gandhi, and he was not so eager to get his diploma at the end. He just didn't accept because of the rule, the foreign rule within India. So the British, as far as he was concerned, had to just get out, okay? So Prabhupada was telling us this story. It was very beautiful. The other things that I recall about when he was in Atlanta, he really enjoyed the kirtan there. He writes in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, if you really want to enjoy, experience the kirtan, you must go to Atlanta. Of course, things may have changed since that time. But he enjoyed the Gaurani Thai deities. They were large brass deities. And there was also a ceiling of mirror tiles. And I guess he'd never seen that before, and he thought that was very nice. He watched the devotees on the Sunday perform a drama. And it was a drama about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu meeting Chand Kazi, the Muslim leader. He really enjoyed it. In the midst of the play, he made some comments. And I just remember Prabhupada, I was looking at Prabhupada just maybe half the time, looking at the play to see does he really like it? And he really did like it. So that's one thing. I was, in our traveling party, I was the cook. I never had a chance to cook dal before. In those days, we had a Hare Krishna cookbook. It's kind of a rectangular shape. You open it like this. And in it was the recipe for dal. So the head cook of the Atlanta temple was saying, I need someone, a volunteer to cook dal. And no one volunteered, so me, being the cook for our traveling party, I just kind of slowly went and noticed, maybe I could do it. Okay. So it's okay, you're hired. And so I went into the kitchen, looked at the recipe, and it had moong dal, which had the shell around it. And I never asked Prabhupada at the end, you know, like anyone, whether he liked my offering or not. I was just too scared for rejection, you know. And but in any event, since that time I started to make dal, and you know, those of you who know me, I spent many years in the kitchen actually, and I make dal, and I make really good dal. And I always kept my recipes a secret. I learned that from Mother Subhuti. Do not share your recipes with anybody. I've never worked in the kitchen. Mother Subhuti would be around and says, wonder how she spices it. You know, when you're going to get Maharaj, I was at Maharaj at the time, please get this and that, so I'll go get that. And in the meantime, she goes, so you can never find out how she does the spicing. Look, it was always a big secret. She didn't want any competitors, I guess. I don't know if she's here tonight. So I was just enjoying cooking for the devotees. Prabhupada did an arti before the picture of Bhaktisiddhanta, which was put on the VYASA, the VYASA that was meant for Prabhupada. And in those days, there was only Prabhupada. He was everyone's guru. They didn't have a choice. It wasn't like a box of chocolates and pick which one you want. You know, he was the only guru. He was the one that was there. And it was a pretty good program, I must say, you know, pretty simple. So Prabhupada did the arti, and we had the whole tali. And when it came to the water, with the water conch was there, but there was no water. So Prabhupada turned to the devotees and he said, bowl for water, bowl. And the temple president, what's his name now? I'm trying to think. The one who ran for office, the mayor. It's on the tip of my Balavanta. Yeah, Balavanta. Balavanta, he thought Prabhupada was saying, you know, like during the kirtan, Haribol! So he's going, Haribol! And Prabhupada said, no, Bol! Haribol! And so finally, he understood. Then when it came to the peacock fan, you know, the last item before you blow the conch, you know, Prabhupada took the peacock fan and he went like this with it. You know, instead of the usual waving like this, up and down and up and down. And I always thought that, well, you have to do it according to the parampara. You have to do it according to the way the acharyas have done. And I wasn't sure if he was being innovative, creative, or what, but he did it, and that was good enough. It was an act of devotion, and he just kind of like waved like this, and I thought it was so sweet. Somebody's trying to call here. Anyways, this is Dhruva from Calgary. Dhruva, I'm speaking to a whole bunch of devotees, and they just want to say Haribol to you. Haribol! So I'll talk to you later. Okay, so Atlanta was it was a joy, and then there was this thing. We went for a morning walk in a famous park, and in that park, it was common for devotees to join him, Prabhupada, in the morning walk. It was a real pleasure, such an honor. And I had the pleasure to be there. It was myself and Giri Jadava, who's also from Toronto, another devotee, Baladev, who's of Jewish background, and he became a Krishna, so he calls himself Mr. Hindu now. And so I remember Baladev was not being very good. He was close to Prabhupada, and he stepped on Prabhupada's feet a couple of times, his shoes, you know. Giri Jadava was giving dirty looks. And I was also trying to listen to Prabhupada by putting my ear out like this, you know, walking and with my ear out, going forward. And I didn't see this big lamp post. And I just rammed, in my head, rammed into it before it bang, and made the loudest noise. And Giri Jadava says, shh. And I was just thinking, well, what about me? And a big lump forward. Okay. And then after Prabhupada mentioned something about homosexuality in the park, and I don't know what he said, really, what was the issue, but after the walk was over, devotees were saying, local devotees were saying, that's the place where the gay people go, you know, in that park. So the devotees were thinking, Prabhupada had never been in this park before. How did he know that gay people were walking on this very trail? Oh, it's so mystical, you know. So our party moved on, and we were more or less following Srila Prabhupada. I then met him in Chicago. I never personally talked to him. I was a shy guy. I would probably stutter if I would ask a question. And usually there was people around him, you know, the big shots, the first wave of senior devotees. So in Chicago, walking in a park along Lake Michigan, there was one instance where there was several sannyasis, they had their dandas. And a cyclist came by, and he stopped right in front of me, where I was. And he looked at Prabhupada, and he said, can I ask a question? He stopped his bicycle and asked the question. And he said, yes, Prabhupada, what is it? And he said, can you tell me why some of you carry the sticks and some of you don't carry the sticks? And then Prabhupada looked at Brahmananda and said, what did he say? And then Brahmananda says, he wants to know about the dandas. Why the dandas? And then Prabhupada said, tell him they are to shoo away the dogs. So then the fellow, because he was right in front of me, I remember this very clearly, he said, ask a stupid question, and he got a stupid answer. And I said, well, it was okay of a question, and it wasn't a bad answer. Yeah. Then the next day, it was a sunny day, I had the pleasure to again be on the morning walk. And Vishaka Devdasi, Yadabar's wife, she was doing all the photography work, you know, and it was very interesting. Prabhupada had talks about, he was speaking to the devotees about defined roles of males and females and things like that, which might appear controversial. But in any case, we came to the end of the park, and there was nowhere else to go. There was like a wall, stone wall there. And so Vishaka decided this is a good place, the sun is shining, and it's a good place to take a picture of Prabhupada. And so they decided, okay, Prabhupada will do it here. And then Vishaka was getting some sort of, okay, there, stand like this, and you get the sunlight on your face. And then Brahmananda came, and he was dealing with Prabhupada, the folds in his chadar, you know. And then another devotee came and asked Prabhupada to stand a little bit differently, slightly different pose. And it kept going on back and forth. And Prabhupada was a little bit, not bothered by it, he was kind of amused. He said, I'm going to sit like this, and that's it. You cannot satisfy all of the people, all of the time. And just gave a big smile. You know? So, in Chicago, there was a member of the police force, Lieutenant Mosey, and he was interested. There was a big, let's say, surge of media attention given to Prabhupada's arrival in Chicago. There were lots of buses that had come in, traveling brahmacharis were coming in and getting initiated. There was like a record, 80 or so people being initiated during that particular time. And Lieutenant Mosey was talking to Prabhupada about the crime and what to do about it. This is in Evanston, it's a suburb, and the devotees had bought an old YMCA building. I remember the swimming pool, which was stretched out, the water taken out, and all of the BBT books and boxes were put in there. And, but it was a nice building, and it suited our purposes at the time. So the dialogue went on, and it's recorded. The officer wanted to know, what is our take? What does the Hare Krishnas feel we can do to address the problem with drugs and alcohol and the crime that goes along with it? Why and what to do? He seemed like a genuine person who wants some answers from a holy man. So Prabhupada was basically saying the same things that he wrote to Mahatma Gandhi about, to solve the problems, the social ills of the world. We do Sankirtan. So Prabhupada was proposing that the city should give us a building, and that building is a big hall, and in that hall we will chant, we will sing, we will dance, and we will have prasadam, and everyone can come, and that would change the culture. He really believed in that, because people party like anything after all, and they get a little tipsy. And I remember Brian was talking about the basement in the Gerard Street Temple. There was a small little area, and we had the washer and dryer there. And I remember a brahmachari, he was actually drunk on the Sunday feast nectar and lying there because one devotee was told, you put 5 cups of sugar in the big container. So his idea, he had like a 4-cup measuring container, and he thought that was 1 cup. So 4 times 5, 20 cups of sugar, that horrible white sugar stuff in there, and it was, that's what we were drinking. So no wonder we were drunk. So anyways, all your party needs are met at the Hare Krishna gathering at the temple. So anyway, Chicago is great, and there's many more things that we can say about that. Detroit, we had our building was a rented place on Jefferson Avenue. When you go across the border at Windsor, you kind of just go over the river through the tunnel, and then you turn right, and there's a major road. It's called Jefferson, and we were on it. You just go, and it's just a little bit near Chrysler, Ford, all those plants. And I remember I was working so hard in those days. I never got enough sleep. And I was nodding out during the whole time that Prabhupada was giving the Sunday feast lecture. And where I was sitting was a perfect profile of him. And he was saying, giving a nice class. It was a hot, sunny day in July. I just don't remember much of what he was saying. But I was so tired the whole time through. Only at the end, the last line he gave said, I just saw a perfect profile of him. And he was going like this, like this, you understand a profile, side view. He said, do not be proud. And that's all I remember, and that's all I really needed to hear. Do not be proud, which is a basic, fundamental, foundational quality to have in a devotional culture, isn't it? Something like that. We had acquired the Fisher Mansion the next year, just like when devotees got the temple here, we acquired our building on Avenue Road. That same year, devotees got out of their rented space and got the Fisher Mansion, which is like right by the river. And it's a beautiful building. And I just remember that I was very close to Prabhupada too when he was giving his class. And he was talking about the stairway to heaven. I know some of you probably will relate to Led Zeppelin's song. But you know, he was talking about the stairway to Swargaloka that was Ravana was responsible for, but he was never able to get there because he lacked the qualifications. You know, and why Prabhupada brought up that point, I'm not quite sure, but it was just something that sticks in my mind. That's very important. You know, if you want to go and have a real nice life, you know, you have to be qualified to get to the higher planets. So Detroit was great, and there was Prabhupada was going on his morning walks, and it was raining, so he didn't go on a morning walk, but he went on a morning ride, and he was in a limousine, and he was in the back seat. So our van from Toronto was right behind him, and for a good hour and a half, we were looking at Prabhupada to the back of his head. So that was good enough for us. Prabhupada came to Toronto, and when he came to Toronto in 1975, the first time, he was already visited Montreal in '68, because he had visa issues. He had to come to Montreal, you understand. And actually my first temple was seeing the devotees in Montreal. And the first temple was also a rented space, and it was in a bowling alley. And it was like on the 3rd floor. How can you have a bowling alley on the 3rd floor? Like the people down below, they must be hearing, you know, like thunder all the time. But that's the way it was. And I was still an art student at that time, didn't yet join the temple. And I was walking up those stairs at the Radha Krishna temple. They had some kind of like a stained glass image of Radha and Krishna. And then I was not sure, am I really going up in the right place, going to a temple, you know, going up creaky little stairs. And then in magic marker was written, "You are halfway up to the spiritual world. Keep going," with an arrow pointing. So at that time there I met Vishwakarma, who I met before on the traveling party. I met some brahmacharis in Sudbury, and I invited them to stay in my apartment for overnight. And that's a story in itself. But, so, in any event, we got that building after some struggle. Prabhupada cut his visit short in '75 in Toronto because he had an opportunity to meet Indira Gandhi, the Prime Minister, right? So you just, if that's the chance, you got a chance, you drop everything. So Prabhupada stopped, he had an appointment, he cut his visit in Toronto short, and then he moved on to Montreal for a few short hours, and then took off to India. So the next year, we did get the building. As you know, Praharna was hinting at it. The people who owned that building, a Protestant group, they were not interested in selling the building to us. Shubha Vilas knows some of the details here. They said we'd rather burn down that building than to sell it to A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami. That's was the mood. And at some point, Prabhupada said, tell them that we will install a murti, a statue of Jesus, and we will worship it every day. And in this way, they might, you know, kind of cater to our needs. But they wouldn't have it. And so anyways, we worked very hard, devotees worked very hard to get that building on 243 Avenue Road. And it's one of the few places on the planet where Prabhupada spent time. Atlanta, he was Montreal, Detroit, Toronto, Los Angeles, New York, gone. You know, practically in the Manor in England, there's very, very few places where Prabhupada spent time on planet Earth in the buildings that we still have, and we will not let that building go. Sometimes people, they say, you gotta change the floor, the floor should be leveled. They don't understand that in movie theaters, they shape the floors that way so people can see the screen in front, and they did that in churches too. And the floor is kind of funky and sort of worn out on the edges. And people suggest that we should change the floor and put marble in there. And you know what I tell them? Over my dead body. Because Prabhupada walked on there, and no one's going to change that funky looking floor. So Prabhupada was so happy to have that building. It was a great triumph, and he sent a telegram. He said, "This is a congratulations. This is a great victory." So he came the next year, and the room was actually filled with devotees. It was maybe the first time that in North America that there was a large group of people, devotees from different parts of North America, and a large Indian community. And it was kind of the first time that Prabhupada, like from the get-go in our temple in Toronto, he wanted, because a lot of immigrants were coming in at that time. And Prabhupada in his morning walks, he was speaking in Hindi, not in English. It was kind of like first time in Toronto for many things. And he was in the room, you can correct me, Praharna, he was in the room with you, and there was a few other devotees from the community, from the Indian community there, not initiated yet. And Vishwakarma was there and so on like that. And he said, please, to the immigrants, establishing themselves, please help these boys and girls, So that means he indicated that, the people from the different races, chocolate brown, milk chocolate color, whatever we are, the blacks and the whites, we all must work together, to push this on. And in that room also, Srila Prabhupada, that sitting room we have upstairs, Prabhupada was in a room with a Dr. Shiva Raman from McMaster and Dr. Professor O'Connell, who was a real hero for us and really stood up for us in the early days when we were dealing with D-programs. That's another chapter in a book that we should put together. And Professor O'Connell was saying, Swami, is there any women gurus in the tradition? Prabhupada said, not many. Yes, not many. But he gave an example of Nityananda's wife, Janani Devi, who was. So Prabhupada verified that there should be female gurus right in that room. And he was, Hare Krishna, what more can I say? He walked on Taylor Creek Park. Anybody know where that is? I was on the morning walk with him. Taylor Creek Park, which is Prabhu. He was also walking on the boardwalk at the beaches area. It's about a 2.5 kilometer stretch of wood. It's still there, Maybe some of the boards have been changed since that time. But he was definitely walking on there, and we have some real nice slides of him. It's unfortunate we don't have any film footage at Prabhupada when he was in Toronto, but we have quite a few slides. There's a lot we can say about his time in Toronto. He had written to one devotee, said Toronto is a very important city in Canada, and in general he was really applauding the devotees, because in a place like Regina, devotees were going out on the streets in 30, 40 below degree weather to approach people about, taking a book. So that was it. A lot of episodes happened in Toronto, and there's a time on Gerrard Street when someone went into the attic and pulled out a book, and then devotees were haunted by ghosts from then on. That's another story. Our book is going to be good. We have to start writing it. Some experiences I had with him, and as I mentioned, I never really talked to him. I was too shy. I just remember a few instances where one brahmachari during the Bhagavatam class, he was going like this, just stretching himself like this. And then he was doing the rest of the turn like that. And the president, Prabhupada didn't like that at all. He's corrected him. And when we were in Atlanta, and there was a kirtan going on, Many devotees were up by where the deities are, the Gorantai deities. Prabhupada was in the back of the temple room, sitting on the VYASA. And there's one devotee near Prabhupada, and he was really showing off playing the mridanga. And he was bouncing the mridanga off his belly, and it would bounce back onto his belly. Like not with his hands, it was just boing, 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 boing. And he was showing the devotees, hey, see what I'm doing here? And then Prabhupada looked at him and he gave the most sour look on his face. Like, it was so precious, so precious. Yes. So we are indebted to him for being so kind to us in Canada. And I just want to report to you that it was a month and a half ago, I was in Halifax, I was in St. John, Fredericton, and Moncton. And in all these 4 cities, we have weekly programs headed by good leaders. And they're very good men, they're good leaders, very inspirational, really fired up. And you wonder, where do they come from? Where do they come from? Of course, one of them was sort of, let's say, trained in our Toronto Temple's names. Nakalai was known as Nick Pereira, and he's been in our plays, and he's just doing a wonderful job. He and his wife, Sarah. It's amazing what a couple can do to change things. You've all heard about Thunder Bay? Yes. Okay, they do the Color Fest, they do Rath Yatra, 8,000 people come, little town. And then they just started, I was on the phone with Frank Michelle the other day, said, we're doing a veg fest. A veg fest? Yeah, we're doing a vegan fest, actually. A vegan fest. And I've got 1,000 people already who are just to come. You know, so that was just this last weekend, so we'll get a report on that. So innovative. What 2 doctors, you know, a husband and wife team can do. It's amazing. And then I was also in Regina, and there's a need to, bring in some new blood. The senior devotees have been working very hard over the years, so we had a very meaningful meeting to help make some change. Saskatoon also, we rent the basement of a very nice church in that city. It was a beautiful city, actually, I would say. And Winnipeg also, a lot of students are coming around to our Islam gatherings. So there's a lot of beautiful things taking place in our country, and I always wanted us to have a center in Vancouver Island, because people in Vancouver Island are very sort of open, accepting. They're sometimes too much, or too laissez-faire, you know. Yeah, I'll come, I won't come, you know. Life is too good, you know. But we have somebody who's opening up a center now, and so we're growing. We're actually doing good, you know. And we have some good dreams for our local GTV. I want to thank you all for working so hard. And sometimes it's not so easy to put forward your services because of lack of time, family commitments, and so on and so forth. And sometimes people are hard to deal with. Have you noticed some devotees are hard to deal with? Have you ever experienced that? Put up your hands. Okay, yeah, some of us are hard to deal with, right? And everyone comes to this world with some baggage, you know? But Srila Prabhupada, knowing that, understanding human dynamics, still asked us to cooperate, which was mentioned earlier on, to cooperate and really work together hard today. We actually have a very good chance in Canada. You know, the U.S. it's a nice place. We have a lot of centers there, but it's kind of scattered. It's all over the place, and they're not united like we are. Isn't that? Are we right about that?
They don't have the same team spirit or family spirit.
Yeah, it's not the same team spirit. And when you go there to the meetings, it's 50% of the time you're dealing with legal matters. Trying to put out fires. So consider yourself lucky. Let's keep it that way. Asi Mahabhagavad, smiling like anything, beaming like the sun. We want everybody to be like this and work together very cooperatively and be nice. Just be nice to each other. Be nice to the world. We have no hope for the future with the Kali Yuga solutions. There are no solutions to the problems, but the only solution are spiritual ones, not mundane ones. That's what I'm trying to drive at. And so let's apply ourselves. And one of the best ways that we can demonstrate a change in the world is just by your actions, just by your behavior. So yesterday I was at a interfaith program where we had Jews, we had Hindus, we had Muslims, we had Buddhists, we had Christians and First Nations people, and we were all celebrating. The program was called Instruments of Peace, and it was Francis of Assisi's day. He died many years ago. He was living in the 12th century, and he's a very popular saint across borders. He was close to animals, and he was so exemplary as a poverty. He took vows of poverty and lived like that. And he started a whole order of Franciscan monks. So yesterday was the day that we were celebrating that, and he said one thing. He said, preach. And if you have to, use some words. So you know what that means? That means that you preach or you teach by your behavior, not just by what you say. Talking can be cheap, you know, but it's if you present yourself as the ideal charactered person, then people will look at that. They will like to emulate that and say, this is the way I like those people. I like those people. Those Christians are nice. They're always smiling. They're always happy. They're productive. They're into family life. They're, you know, all those kind of, they're wholesome, good qualities. They don't swear. All those kind of things, you know. That's what we need to be known for, those kind of qualities. So if you want to offer me a birthday gift, not cake, birthday gift, please, let's all work at this much harder. And instead of, let's say, if there's a notion to act right, forget it. Just point out the good in each other. We have to do a lot more of that. We made a vow that we are going to be more, let's say, kind to each other. We're going to be softer towards each other. And we're going to always bring out the good in each other, which is what Prabhupada always did. So thank you very much. I'm not sure if I crossed the line in terms of time, but are we going to Slight. Okay? So thank you for listening. I cannot stand going through one of these ceremonies, what we call VYASA PUJA, without me saying something about Prabhupada. Don't put me through.
So we are running a little bit late, but still we can squeeze a couple of speakers. His Grace Shubhla Prabhu is here, and I know he will have a juicy story about Maharaj. Let's hear from him what he has to say about Maharaj. Haribol. And then Satyabhama Mataji, she is going to be the next one. And we have another person among us. He is celebrating his birthday today, Mukesh Prabhu. I'm going to ask him to come and say a few words about Maharaj too. So
maybe we can get everybody to line up so they don't have to wait.
Sure. So, Satyabhama Mataji, please come up, and Mukesh Prabhu, please. Oh, so we have a nice gift from Shubhla Prabhu for Bhaktimarga Swami. I believe it's a garland. Hari Bol.
46 years ago, Maharaj and I met on Jersey, 1973. So he's one of the best God brother. I can't say anything more. We have been working for 46 years. Thank you, Maharaj, for serving Srila Prabhupada.
Maharaj have been good God brother with me, and he said 46 years. He was talking about buying the building on George Street when Srila Prabhupada ordered to buy the building. As Maharaj said, it was in the Toronto Star also. Pastor Reamer said very clearly, we rather burn the building than give it to Hare Krishna. But Srila Prabhupada wanted that building. So what happened, I used to work at 390 Bay Street. Now look how Prabhupada and Krishna works, 390 Bay Street, and I was on 9th floor working for Great American Insurance Company, and I'm in the elevator in the morning, and some person says me, good morning. I'm so upset because we are not getting the building that morning. I said, oh, good morning. And he said, what is wrong with it? How do you answer my good morning? I told him, because I'm trying to buy a building on Avenue Road, and they are not selling it to us. And the person says, oh, I'm on 12th floor, could you come and see me at lunchtime? And he was the lawyer for Christian Alliance Church. And he set up the meeting, and we got that building. Happy birthday today. Happy you can say today is your actual birthday too, so thank you, Hare Krishna.
So, as I said, we have another person who's celebrating his birthday today. Let's see what he has to say.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. I'm really blessed devotee to have a birthday same as Maharaj today. And Maharaj has been so kind to our Gilda family and initiated my father that you all know, Dr. Gilda or Sukhdev Das, and very, very devoted to the ISKCON temple for the last 40 years. And Maharaj, we have also a lot of fond memories. You've heard a lot of stories, and I'd like to share one with you also. Maharaj was very big on, as you know, the walking monk, and Maharaj asked me that we want to start Padayatra together. And he started that, and I took part with Maharaj, and we walked through all of Toronto, and it was amazing. And second day, always ended up at the Gilda residence in Mississauga, and we did amazing kirtan there with all the devotees, and it was a memory that we can never forget. All the Gilda family, for my 3 children, Arjun, Krishna, and Radha, that they are fondly devoted with Maharaj and ISKCON today. And Maharaj was recently at our house, and we did an amazing kirtan there. And I'm so blessed that I have a birthday with Maharaj, and the whole Gilda family is grateful for this. And Maharaj has given us a lot of nice, fond memories and lectured at our house. He's actually stayed at our house. And I hope I can continue doing seva for both all these ISKCON temples. I'm very fond of the Brampton temple, and I devote and spend time and do whatever our Gilda foods can do here, and offer whatever prasadam is here. So thank you, Maharaj.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances and happy birthday to you.
Please accept mine.
I was just sitting in the back, and I was thinking I must write something to express my appreciation for Maharaj. Otherwise it would just not be right. So I just wrote a few lines, so bear with me. This is written on a haiku kind of meter. So 3 lines in a verse, 5 letters, 7 letters, 5 letters. So we can count. His Holiness Bhaktimarga Swami Maharaj is famously known as a walking monk, one who walks his talk. By consciousness, he is a saint. His mind always on renovations and paint. to beautify 243 Avenue Road. Simplicity and honesty he embodies, a firmly rooted soldier of Srila Prabhupada, unwavering purpose and strong faith, compassion, forgiveness, and progressive ideas. Easygoing, simple, yet strong like thunder, striving to keep everyone together. Art, drama, lights, music, direction. Creative, funny, full of stories and action. A magnet, drawing artistic personalities. Simple, easy instructions he gives. Most important one, always do the needful. Expressive and funny stories galore. Raps, simple sabjis, and fiddleheads. Even in his diet, he demonstrates simplicity. Mango lassi and coconut water. Traveling, always talking about Krishna, tailoring messages for time, place, circumstance. Classes infused with animated stories. Maharaj's phone calls during the day, discussing new ideas or helping out devotees, focused on care and compassion. His Holiness Bhaktimarga Swami Maharaj is famously known as a walking monk, one who walks his dog. Hare Krishna.
Hi, too. Actually, at this point, I'm going to ask people to move this way so that you can say Sabha. We are going to play the Walking Monk, the documentary that Michael Osh has prepared. It's going to be 20-25 minutes of documentary, and somebody needs to read the lines. Haribo.
Yeah, if you want to see this, you really have to move over it. Tuck yourselves over this way. Can we ask the others to really make that accommodating shift over?
Why walk? On the road, there are so many enlightening moments. Lots of thought processing goes on in the minds of travelers as they are in motion. For a walker, there's no exception. I walk 7 to 8 hours on a daily basis, but this is an extreme. The truth behind walking is to use it as a means to seek the divine. We begin our journey by looking all around us, trying to discover the sacred in everything we meet, and then bit by bit, the landscape transforms. Time seems to stand still. And slowly we begin to construct a world whose main protagonist is the divine. Imagine a monk impervious to the fury of the elements, tirelessly crossing the Canadian landscape. It was the 100th anniversary of my teacher, Bhaktimarga Swami, and I wanted to remember him by offering him my heart and my feet. That is my reason for walking. I began by practicing detachment from worldly affairs, to suffer the consequences of being exposed to snow, the cold, the heat, and mosquitoes. Krishna explains that dualities, such as winter and summer, they come and go, as does happiness and distress. One must learn to tolerate them without being disturbed. From this natural law of cause and effect. One might be wise to study the nature of the world and the impetus behind troubled times. Hardship is something we cannot avoid, but tolerance is something we can invite. There's no doubt that there is struggle in the matter of walking, even in this almost perfect climate and in clean mountain air. I'm not much worried about grizzly encounters, but I'm cautious. I enjoy the trekking. You do get your aches and pains for sure. The mind may try to agitate. That struggle is good. Regarding pedestrian pain or fatigue, it's better to have a physical ache or pain with a peaceful mind than to have a pampered lifestyle with an agitated mind. To draw an analogy, we all get stuck in a body, and our actions plunge us deeper into a mire. I told myself, I'm so glad I don't own a vehicle, but I do have one, this body. When I see a sign that reads, "Men at work," I know that someone is trying to make improvements. Better to get it unstuck and work my way towards a spiritual body. I see a polarized world. On one side, anguish and confusion. When people struggle with apparently unresolvable issues, an uncertain horizon, an internal growing void is created. And many try to fill it up with alcohol, drugs, or other forms of escape. On the other side, I see people who are widening their spiritual horizons, folks who seek and find the light. What is your idea to recapture that deep and liberating concept that says, I am not this body, that I am my soul, the spirit that is inside my body? When the recovery of these principles is achieved, we are ready to obtain deeper and long-lasting relations. And then there's another principle called grace. It is something we have not deserved or perhaps desired. It appears to be an unearned favor. Sometimes we must beg for this grace. Let me correct myself. It might be a good idea to always beg for grace. The art of walking is of secondary importance. It is the people we meet and observe that make it all worthwhile. There are two different kinds of monks: those who are hermits and live in solitude, and those who just want to hit the road, go out, get inspired, and meet people. I'm told that I appear like a tiny saffron speck. Although small in dimension, I stand out at a distance. The driver coming around the bend will suddenly see a speck, becoming bigger and bigger until he passes by. Am I a speck? Because I'm certainly not a saffron-clad monk. The monk is only a role that's played out. I'm not these saffron robes either. They are a cover for the body, and the body is a cover for the soul. I am a soul, which is a mere speck according to Vedic authority. The self, or the Atma in Vedic terms, is small, nevertheless significant. When I walk along the road, the tiniest of bugs may land upon my bald head. Despite the bug's minuteness, I feel his presence significantly, especially if he bites. Small can be profound, even important, when we identify with our tiny spirit and we come to the point of service to the big spirit. Then we become very significant. So many artists and poets have sung and written about travels on the road as a metaphor on life. You hit low points and valleys, and high points and elevation. You also see the road as a link to destinations where experiences take place. I generally look for alternative wayside roads that angle along to meet the highway. There we find peace. I find there's no better way than with this low-tech, highly organic approach. Our bodies are designed so that half of them are made of legs. I believe in using them. There's something about the movement of the body that makes you sensitive to your spirit. Walking while chanting is like dancing to music. The master of chanting, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, explained there is no hard and fast rule for chanting. It is really a matter of preference. My preference is walking. For me, walking and chanting are most compatible. I might as well move the mouth at the same time and turn the walking into a pilgrimage. Well, that's why I'm out here chanting. I'm not just walking. I'm chanting towards freedom. Entering the Rocky Mountains, leaving the open plains behind, now amidst the jolly green giants. Walking with a river by your side is like having a cheerleader to prod you on. In Canada, we have plenty of clean streams that energize all in close proximity to them. Here, with the mountains all around you, hearing transcendental messages, the most significant of which is the statement, death is artificial. There's some strong implication here. Perhaps you would like to think about that statement. There is life in death with the emergence of the soul. Even when an entity apparently bites the dust. Not a sign of life in it. So where did the Atma go? The answer lies in karma, which is often too complex to make order or shape out of it. On the road, you get both life and death. The closeness of motorists is like prana, the life force. Many signs of death are apparent on the highway. And the numerous crucifixes erected to demarcate automobile mishaps. For millennia, sages in India have roamed on foot for the sake of self-improvement and wisdom. I would also say that pilgrimage offers both benefits. When you share the stories of what you see, hear, smell, taste, and touch, that is what makes the walk clearly divine, clearly devotional. The road is a marvelous vein through nature. And walking allows the time and space to absorb all that's around. From trees, we learn tolerance. From wind, creativity. From water, gravity. From the sun and moon, energy. And from people, hospitality and kindness. I only wish that the world could be with me to experience it. If you are lucky, you can catch it at the right hour. Somewhere at dawn.
So that was walking monk.
Guru Jagana
Prasadam will start in 2 lines.